Joe, do you want to tell us about your meteorites and objects from outer space here?
Okay, these are just a few. I've got over 100 meteorites. As a solar system ambassador with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, one of my duties that I've taken on is to show meteorites and talk about meteorites to community groups, to academic groups, to school groups and whatnot. And I've always had a love of meteorites since I was a boy, a little Boy Scout, and going out on camping trips one time, and I saw just a big ball of fire go across the sky. I was probably about 11 years old, and it was a meteorite coming in and landing on Earth somewhere, and I always wanted to know more about them. And fortunately, for the last 15, 20 years, I've been involved in it. I've got one type of every variety of meteorite. These are just some. This one here is a Mars rock. This came from Mars, and we can ask all about how we know and all this. This is about twice the size as the one they have. This is called from the Zagami rock. It was found in Nigeria in 1962. It's twice the size of the one they have in the Boeing Air and Space Museum.
But that didn't come back from a Mars lander or anything.
No, it didn't come from Mars lander. It was knocked by a meteor, slammed into Mars sometime in the past. This is off the side of a volcano, and with such an intensity that it blasted this bunch of material up into space, because Mars is much smaller than the Earth, so its escape velocity is only like 4 meters per second, whereas 11.3 for the Earth. So it's much easier for things to be blasted into space from the Moon and Mars. With Venus and Earth and whatnot, it would be very, very difficult. Here's a moon rock. Here's a pretty good sized moon rock. And here's another from the Highlands. It's a slice of a moon rock. These things are very expensive. They usually go for $3,000–4,000 a gram. So, you know, we've got quite a few grams here. This one is a very famous meteorite. It's called the Murchison, and it has over 77 different types of amino acids that's actually in these that were created in space. So in almost any book that you look at in the origin of life or whatnot, they'll talk about the Murchison meteorite that landed on Australia in 1969. Another meteorite very similar is called the Hilbe, and it has different inclusions in it, and called nanodiamonds it has inside, and also they're called these CAIs that were actually captured by our solar system as it was forming from materials from outside our solar system. The little white spots right that's what those were. They came from outside our solar system. If you look on Google under CAIs, you can read all about it. This one's really interesting. This is a 5-carat nanodiamond that was created. There's very few in existence on Earth that we know of. It was created as a supernova explosion of a carbon star that was such explosion that it actually formed a diamond in space. And this landed in Central Africa Republic some years ago. We've got, let's see, what is this one here? Yeah, that's the other lunar one. This here is a palisite. And a palisite and mesahedrites like this were shaped in an asteroid between the core and the mantle. It's right in that area. So there's a mixture of materials, the core material here and mantle material here. If you get a bright light, you can actually see through these, and they're really, really quite beautiful. And this is another one from another source. This is South America, and this one is a nickel iron formed in the core of an asteroid, and this actually came from the meteor crater up in northern Arizona that slammed into our Earth 50,000 years ago, and this was collected from it. It's all nickel iron completely. This is a nickel iron rock called the Skihody Alin from Siberia that landed in 1949 in eastern Russia, and is collected here. These are just called stony meteorites like this, and the way you can tell, look at this fusion crust here, where it's been kind of burned slowly over here. They don't get that hot as they enter. They start burning material, but the far inside doesn't get as hot as it does on the outside. But if you cut these open and kind of polish it a little bit, you'll see these inclusions. These are called chondrules, and these were formed in space as the solar system was forming, in little bits and drops here. And it's really interesting to know about how our Earth was formed. These tell us all about our Earth, our solar system, and how we got here.